so disappointed that Kevin Costner isn't in this track, you know? I was really hopeful for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, the hopes part of Field and Hopes and Dreams, that's what let you down.
I built it, and he never came.
Hello, and welcome to episode 174 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and there's nothing I love more than doing a podcast an hour after I get out of bed. But I'm here today, and I did it because we have people from all sorts of different time zones, and that's just how we do things. But I'm excited for this episode. We're talking about music of the year. I have a wonderful panel today, which I'm going to introduce before we do anything else, starting with Patrick.
Hey, everyone.
I don't think we could do a music of the year without you, Pat, so I appreciate you always wanting to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honored and always glad to be part of a wrap-up episode like this.
Yeah. Matt is here as well.
RPG fan music of the year 2025.
That was amazing.
Hello.
We might as well end now. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know you were going to give us a jingle like that. Thank you.
Anytime.
And also here today, Paul is with us for the first time.
Hi, Nate. Yeah, great to be here. Quite an intimidating episode to make my debut on.
Welcome, Paul. Woo!
Is this your first episode on any of the podcasts?
No, just Rhythm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say, I thought you were, you were a regular.
Paul wanted to be on the Clair Obscur episode, but there was so much interest in that one. We had too many people. So he was
I wanted to be on that too.
Yeah.
too.
Well, he was kind enough to step away, and I said, okay, because you're doing this, you're automatically going to be in the Music of the Year episode, so you can still talk about Clair Obscur. Thank you for doing that, Paul, and I'm glad we got you on this one.
Yeah, sounds like a good deal to me, so I'm happy.
Yeah. So like we usually do, we all picked a few extra songs for Music of the Year because there's just so much to cover. As a result, today we are skipping our What Have You Been Listening To Recently segment because we talked a little beforehand, and what we've all been listening to is the playlist for this episode. So instead of just doubling down on everything we're talking about today, I figured we would say hello, which we have done, and then hop into it. So we're going to break this down by just one person at a time. So each of us pick 3 songs, and then we'll talk about one person's songs and move on and so on. So if everyone's ready, I say we just keep going. Pat, you are first. What do you want to start with? Yeah,
this is, I think this is a bit of a deep cut from a really great arranged album. This is the battle theme from Final Fantasy XI. From the arranged album #SQkawaii Sounds Final Fantasy. All right, so before I go any further with my playlist, I just want to say I easily could have filled these 3 spots with all arranged music. I think 2025 was a great year for arranged albums. Just some incredible stuff. I think we have a few more as we get into other people's stuff. I did force myself to do one OST track that we'll get to. And honestly, I could have pulled 3 tracks from SQkawaii. I think this is an incredible album. It was sort of on my radar even before it was out. They released some sort of pre-release tracks and it sounded really cool. And then an old friend of ours, RPG fan alum Derek Heemsbergen, wrote a review on his personal blog, Astral City Mini, about this album. And that was it for me. I read that and I was just like, oh yeah, I gotta get this album. And I think I have a review of it up on RPG Fan. And so the whole album is 1 track from each mainline game. And then I think there's a few sort of series tracks, like I think like Chocobo's theme, Prelude, that kind of stuff is there as well. And each track is arranged in this sort of like kawaii, like cutesy, modern EDM style that's really hard to describe. It's sort of a broad range. Some tracks like lean into like chiptunes, and others like this one will do things like use vocal samples, which is very like house style EDM, but still like very synthy, bordering on chippy. And I think what I love about this arrangement is the standard battle theme borders on annoying to me at this point. You know, I put so many hours into Final Fantasy XI, and I almost always wanted to play like true to the experience. So I always use the in-game music. And so I've probably heard over 100 hours of this song in my life, just from like grinding levels, right? And
I'm just curious. Is there this main battle theme? Is that the standard battle theme through every expansion, all of Final Fantasy XI?
No, every expansion has different music.
Okay, good.
But that first grind to 75, especially back in like 06, like before, you know, until you got to like Treasures of Odd-Organ, most of your good leveling zones were sort of in the base areas, where this was just going to be the battle theme. And I'm not lying when I say probably about 100 hours of me hearing this song. So I'm tired of it, right? Like it's not a bad song in its OST form. Like for Naoshi Mizuta, like back when he wrote it in like 02, like actually a pretty good song, but I'm tired of it. And then I hear this arrangement, and first of all, what a choice to arrange this track. If you're going to pull anything from 11, I think there's a lot sort of easier picks, you know, stuff that's a lot more common or more accessible. And this arranger, Kyota, with a period in his name, because sure, why not? He did something wild with this, and I could listen to this version for another 100 hours because I think this is just so catchy. I mean, just that voice sample of the girl going, okay, I'm just like, every time I hear that, I'm like, yes, I'm like, my head starts nodding. Like, this is just a great arrangement. It is so cool. And I don't know, there might be 1 or 2 other places across the entire Square Enix music library that arranged this particular piece, but for the most part, this one gets ignored. And so I just think, like, what a wild choice and what a wild outcome. I just love this track.
Yeah, I had to go back. Like, I'm going to be honest here. Like, I had to go back and compare it to the original because I didn't recognize it. I'm sure it's in there. I'm sure the melody is there, but like, it caught me so off guard with how much of a cool transformation it was.
Yeah, the melody gets highly syncopated. Like, the original is just this dun, 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 and then here it's like bum, ba-da, bow, ba-da, 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 and it's just like, okay. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, how fun would it be if this was like in the game somewhere in some kind of sequence? It just the energy level of it is so good for a battle theme or any kind of any kind of boss fight, anything like that in the game. What a fun transformation. I don't know if they ever do that on 11. They do that on 14 sometimes, like some of the arranged stuff, band music, piano albums they do. Sometimes those make it back into the game in certain content. I don't know if this would fit the vibes of 11. It probably would not anywhere, but that's okay. It's a lot of fun. It really reminds me to listen to this album more. I think I listened to it once or twice when it came out, but maybe I didn't spend enough time with it. This is really cool.
It would be good DLC for like theater rhythm, I think.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be fun. But I didn't know how to react to this track. Like, I mean, like I really enjoyed it, and I was just impressed at like the depth of the production on it and like the quality. I wrote down in my notebook here, it sounds like if Anamanaguchi did a song for Katamari. Like, it was just like my head was spinning the whole time, and like, yeah, I'm not very familiar with much of the music from Final Fantasy 11. That's like the blind spot in my Final Fantasy knowledge, but it was fun, and like it reminded me to go back and re-listen to this Kawaii album. So really fun track.
Yeah, I'm also not really familiar with most of the Final Fantasy 11 musical catalog, but this track in isolation, I think I really like it. I like the cutesy elements of it, the feeling like it's like some kind of bizarre mini game that you've walked into. Maybe you've walked into an arcade in like a dragon or something like that, and this is like, I don't know, claw game or something, I don't know. As Pat said, introducing that vocal clip at the end, okay, repeatedly okay thing, that could go two ways. I think it could either drive you insane or you could you'd find it quite appealing. And I'm more on the latter side. I think I liked it. I think this is a great energetic way to start music of the year for me.
It's funny you say that about the claw game, Paul, because like that's the album art, right? Is like these Final Fantasy characters looking into a claw machine.
God. Maybe that's like
exactly.
That slipped into my brain without me even noticing. Yeah.
No, that's just like the power of like suggestive music,
Yeah, but that album art is really cool too. Like if people take time to study it, you got all these cool characters. You got Shantoto from 11 like drinking boba tea. Like it's so cool. The art, like whenever Square Enix does these sort of themed arrange albums, it is interesting to see how and to what degree they can kind of get a unifying vibe to it. And I think the art and the music for this album go together so well. I think they really nailed that part of it, that sort of unifying vision, in ways that not all of their arranged albums quite nailed it.
Yeah.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely fits, and it shows the sort of breadth of things that they're doing at the moment as well, that we could have something like this along with, some of the more orchestral stuff like distant worlds, that kind of gigantic sounds. But you can also have this as a to break up that kind of maybe the overly serious tone that we're sometimes stuck with as Mike sort of indicating about the nature of Final Fantasy 11 itself.
This was part of like the SQ album compilation, right? Like the SQ.
No, this was new.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
So the SQ Music Collections covered the first album, which was called Love SQ, all the way to 2015's Last SQ. And then they didn't do anything with sort of the SQ abbreviation for a decade. And then they brought this album out, and then announced for March of 26, there's this Christel's Chillwave SQ Relax album coming out, which they haven't announced who the arrangers are yet. They just have a track list out. There's no audio samples yet, but I think it's going to be similar to like the Chill Out series that they've done for, I think I put up a review for the Around 80s mix, and then there was one for Final Fantasy 14 called Sanctuary's Heart.
Oh, those are good.
Weirdly, there's one for Near Reincarnation, which, I'm hopeful that album's going to be really good. But it looks like they're reviving the SQ branding.
I just can't get over what you said about Final Fantasy XI having one battle theme for like the vanilla game. I'm like, how? That's like a cardinal sin of JRPGs.
For standard encounters, there's like
Right.
3 different boss themes as well.
Sure. But like a lot of games do that, right? And it's like, come on, like after playing Clair Obscur, it's like, okay, every area has like 4 different battle themes. So like I've kind of become spoiled on that. But
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the base Final Fantasy XI soundtrack was 2 discs, and Clair Obscur is 8 hours of music. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just more standard, back when 11 came out. I mean,
Yep.
14, the even original 14 did do that, where they had a different battle theme for each zone. None of them especially memorable, but at least it was different with each area.
Right, it existed.
Yeah.
And it got better once we got Masayoshi Soken rocking it. All right, you guys ready for more arranged music goodness?
heck yeah.
All right, so my next one is from Deltarune Piano Collections Volume 1, published by Materia Collective. The track is called Field of Hopes and Dreams, obviously composed by Toby Fox and arranged and performed by Trevor Allen Gomes. right, so that was Field of Hopes and Dreams. Great track from Deltarune. Deltarune Piano Collections Volume 1 covers chapters 1 and 2 of Deltarune. My understanding is they're planning a volume 2, which will cover the recently released chapters 3 and 4. So they're lagging behind, a release or two, but I'll take it. This is a really cool album. Has great battle arrangements too. Like, I think Rude Buster is a really good one, and Big Shot. Like those are great, like, intense battle theme arranges. But I think Field of Hopes and Dreams is it's just very bright. It reminds me of I can't remember the name of the song. There's sort of a parallel piece from Undertale, which might even have a similar track title.
Hopes and Dreams, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And
I think there's a little bit of it in there.
I was going to say, you can pick up on the motif, within this piece. But I just think that doing something, sort of bright and happy on piano and not making it sound sort of schmaltzy or saccharine is actually rather difficult. I don't know. I struggle with composing or arranging piano pieces that are bright and uplifting, that don't just sound like you're a fourth grader playing a song for your piano recital. Like, now obviously the quality of arrangement and performance here isn't going to sound like a fourth grade recital, but I think maybe people understand what I mean when I say this, that it takes more than just decorative flourish or adding, jazzy major ninths and major sevenths. Like, it takes more than that to make it work. And I think the just sort of the movement, the busyness between left and right hand, the syncopation is what's making it work here. Because I think if you did sort of a vanilla transcription of what's on the OST to piano, it would sound the way I was describing bad, happy music. Works great in the OST form, but you needed to dress it up a little to make it work for piano. And that's why I love this arrangement.
This is one of, like, the I guess it's not rare anymore. Like, this is becoming more and more common for me. But in this case, I like this rendition more than the original, actually. I feel like the original is a great track, but the melody gets kind of drowned out in all the electronic busy elements, which might be like a creative choice. But this one is just, so crisp and clean. Like, it makes me think of like a snowy day, that kind of childlike innocence that you're talking about without being too schmaltzy, like you said. But yeah, it's just a beautiful track. I reviewed chapters 1 through 4, the soundtracks of Deltarune, but I haven't even played the game yet. And I'm just really wondering where this one comes up in the game. But yeah, I love this track.
That's a solid review, by the way. Anyone listening, go read Matt's review of the Deltarune soundtrack thus far, which is chapters 1 through 4.
Oh boy, see you for chapter 5.
Yeah.
But the track listing on this album too is like fantastic. Like, like Scarlet Forest is there, and Rude Buster, like you said, and like Chaos King, like a lot of really great choices from a pretty massive soundtrack. I feel like what's his name, Trevor Alan Gomes, he has such like a great taste and like ear for music. Like, you look at his other discography and it's like a Chicory album, a Celeste album, a Donkey Kong Country album, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Like, he has a lot of really great choices, I think, and great arrangements of them.
Yeah, his Ori album is really good.
The first thing I heard from him actually was the Chrono Trigger piano collections in 2016. And that was really all I needed to know, like, oh, this is someone I need to keep following. That one's
and
really
I think
great.
From 2016 to now, he's only grown in, like, I think he's always been like an incredible performer. I think his arrangement skills have gotten better and better with each passing release.
Yeah.
See, from what you're saying, it seems like he's definitely got his eye on a particular like genre of game to approach, and I guess that's allowed him to come up with something like this, which is such a great pick, Pat. I mean, it's so transformational of the original in all the ways that you've mentioned so far, and it works so well in the piano version, as Matt was saying, maybe almost in some ways superseding what came before it. Certainly as maybe a casual listen outside of actually playing Deltarune itself, this might be the one that you might go for first, to slap on in the background. I'm very very excited by this one.
Awesome.
One last thing, just because I thought about this when I reviewed Toby Fox's soundtrack, is I love the Undertale music, but I feel like people might underestimate it for just being his style is like an Earthbound ripoff, or everything he does is derivative of something else, something retro, right? And across the entire soundtrack for Deltarune, thus far, he dips into so many styles, but then establishes his own style. I feel maybe for the first time, there's a few tracks on that soundtrack and represented here in the piano album that are just fantastic. I feel it's really cool to see Toby Fox grow as a composer who was already super talented, but to kind of grow into his own mold. I think that's really cool to see. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You can say from that kind of indie, the usual sort of indie games and in indie music for this type of release, and the hype surrounding Undertale and Deltarune itself, you could say, well, yeah, exactly as you said, Matt, is this just mass consensus creating this idea that Toby Fox is is particularly good in this area? But I think there's just something distinctive about both of those, all of those soundtracks that he's done so far, and I don't think you can really accuse him of that. He's as you're saying, Matt, he's developed his own sound, something very recognizable, and I think there's a good chance that'll continue until this title's finally complete.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys ready for my last pick?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
This is a good one. I said, I had to force myself to do an OST track, but this is a good one. I don't know how I failed to pull this one in across the entirety of 2025, so this was my last shot, and I was happy to do it. This is a battle theme, a boss battle theme called Spiritual Rainstorm by Kazuki Yanagawa, and this is from the OST for Atelier Yumia, The Alchemist of Memories, and the Envisioned Land. All right, so that was Spiritual Rainstorm. A bit of a departure from a lot of battle themes that even Kazuki Yanagawa has written for other games in the Atelier series. Of course, I think Yumia is largely a departure from series norms. I'd recommend people, if you haven't played the game, to at least read our review of the game. I think that was Des Miller who did that review. It's got a bit of an open world Breath of the Wild-esque feel that previous Atelier games have never really tried to touch before. Closest I think they ever did prior to that was probably the 18th Atelier, halfway through the Mysterious series.
Geez. Don't tell me 18.
Yeah, well, Yumi is like 26 or something.
Yeah.
What?
25 or 26.
So before Ryza.
Yes, it was the trilogy before Ryza. Oh, it was Fierus. So Sophie, Fierus, and then Lydian Swell. Fierus played a little bit with going heavy on fields and open world, but not nearly to the extent of Atelier Yumia, which like kind of eschews loading zones as much as it possibly can to sort of one fluid world map, similar to, like I said, Breath of the Wild, or even like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And some people didn't like it, and certainly with the game after it, Atelier Wrestleriana, where the developers have openly said, oh, we're going to go back to our safe, tried and true formula. This was a little too out there for us. I think Yanagawa, who is someone who's been composing, I think, since Aisha, which is the 14th game, which goes back quite a bit, he definitely knew how to take on the style that Ken Nakagawa and Daisuke Chiwa had sort of established since Atelier Iris, in my opinion. There was a through line. I don't hear that through line in this track. In Spiritual Rainstorm, this is a really in-your-face sort of crunchy, techno-y style battle theme. And I could also go on a whole rambling tangent on the title of this track. The original title is 3 kanji that trying to make sense of it is insane. I mentioned Derek Heemsbergen earlier. Derek and I worked on a track list of this OST together before someone found there was an English language sound test in the American version of the game, and so that's what's been used as the standard. But prior to that, we just had Japanese text, and trying more than any track across the 4 discs on this OST, this title just doesn't make sense. And Spiritual Rainstorm isn't even close to capturing what this kanji was trying to say, but sure, I'll take it.
I'm not sure how to like the reading of the kanji, but the first one is like tamashi, or like kind of like katamari damasi, like soul.
Right,
and then
so the solar spirit thing's in there. Yeah.
And then rain. So it's like your soul is flying through the rain, but I'm not sure like what is the subject.
Yeah, flying rain versus rainstorm. Like there's other characters for storms or rainstorms. So flying rain, I think, is almost more of a reference to like Chinese than Japanese. There were some tracks in here that like referencing Chinese made it easier to understand. So it was a crazy title, and making sense of it was hard. And the context for this battle theme, if you've played the game, you know who this is for. And it is not the final boss, but it is intense. This is just a crazy battle theme. And at first, I'll be honest, the first time I heard it, I didn't like it. But the more I listened to this OST, it really grew on me. And I'll also note real quick, I think this was the first OST of 2025 that I listened to, like, period. And I think at the time I thought this OST is easily top 5, maybe top 3 for me. And then like right after that, Clair Obscur came out, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a crazy year.
And it was. Yeah.
And so like for me, Yumia kind of got knocked down a peg over the course of the year. It's kind of hard when it's like a January release or whatever. But yeah, there were a few tracks from this OST that stuck with me, and this battle theme is one of them. And I think it's unconventional even for me to really dig a track like this, but I do, and that's why I brought it.
I mean, I just liked it because of how surprising it was to me. You know, if I thought I had any idea what the more recent Atelier games were doing in terms of music, this proved that maybe I don't, or at least not the extent of it. I'm such a fan of a lot of the other games, the older games, like their cozier tones and stuff like that. So I wasn't prepared for this one, but it was such a nice surprise. Really, some really cool like percussion on this track, and I think it's right around the middle of the song where the whole thing like just rises up, and it's really exciting. If it wasn't a battle theme, I would have been surprised. So I'm glad you confirmed that. Just a really, really great energy, and not what I thought we were getting from this one. So I enjoyed it. Yeah,
it's interesting that you say, because I have not tried, no familiarity with Atelier yet, but hearing about Yumia and its sort of supposedly slightly darker tone, although I was still drawn to trying the series eventually, that kind of appeals to me more, even though I've heard that maybe that might not, it might be a bit overblown, it might not be quite as dark as we were anticipating, but that's definitely, that kind of slightly extra edge is definitely reflected in the in this track, where you have those kind of the piano rattling off, but then you've got that kind of discordant buzzing noise throughout it as well, and sort of the clashing of those two things together is really making what apparently is an epic boss track come together. It's a sound that I really appreciate, and it's making me even more likely to start here, maybe even more than some of the more famous ones like Rise Up.
Right, and I think that's the other thing that makes this potentially a bit of a good sell for a starter point, is unless they decide otherwise, I think this might be a standalone title. I don't think it's going to be a trilogy. We'll see. My sense is, this is kind of a fun one-off, so might be worth jumping in on.
I have no experience with the Atelier series beyond the awesome music, but my image of the music is like it's quite cozy and relaxing, or at least I thought so. So this one, like opening up with the blast beat, like right in your face, and then like this is the personification in song form of like never let them know your next move, right? I'm just like every like 10 seconds I'm like huh, like I imagine like hearing this in game would be so exciting and like I don't know, pulse pounding, but I really, this is my favorite track I think that you brought today, Pat. I really love this one, and
wow.
Like you, Paul, this makes me want to play the series more so than anything I've heard thus far. I kind of, like, musically, I kind of got a little bit of a vibe of, like, the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, like that mixture of electronic and, like, watery sounds, like the kind of dewdrop quality that they have.
Yes. I do think that is one of the things I like about it, is it does harken back to some of the sort of more frenetic and chaotic pieces of music from the 13 trilogy, and I might specifically say Lightning Returns. That makes, obviously for someone like myself, Hamuzu fans among us, it was a big change of pace for Yumia, but we've heard VGM like this before, and it is cool to hear it in the context of an Atelier game.
It's like putting Blinded by the Light or that battle theme like in a blender, like cranking it up to 11.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like
Definitely.
this one.
I think from a music standpoint, I think whether you appreciate it or maybe you're a bit resistant as a long-time fan, it's encouraging that they're willing to take these kind of, along with the game itself, but in the actual soundtrack, these kind of big swings, try something out. If it doesn't work, they can go in a different direction with one of the other multiple titles that will be following it. But yeah, it's encouraging to see that kind of experimentation in such a long-running series.
Yeah, I've never heard like a soundtrack where I said, this is too weird. You know what I mean? Like I want something weird, right? Like that makes it stand out to me. So I love that.
Cool. Well, man, I think that's my block of 3. I easily could have brought 10, but looking at what's to come with y'all, I would have picked some of these definitely from some of these same games or arranged albums. So I'm going to pass the torch off to our newcomer, Paul. This is very exciting, man. What do you got going on here?
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. So let me introduce the track that I've chosen, which is Lune by Lorien Testard, and of course sung by the amazing Alice Duport-Percier.
Dans le silence et la nuit, magie et poésie prennent vie, lueur taciturne, muse des âmes
Yeah, so that was Lune, and as I mentioned, picking a track from this was incredibly difficult, because because there's so much material, and so much of it has been covered previously. But I think the important thing about this soundtrack as a whole to me is that depth of experimentation and different sounds that Lorien Testard has brought to it. So there's no shortage of standout pieces, and this one really does stand out to me for several reasons. One, it's about Lune, a character who maybe doesn't receive as many plaudits. To me, anyway, I don't seem to hear about her as much as we do the rest of the cast, even CL. But as I played it, she was a firm favourite of mine. I haven't picked it just because of that, obviously. It's another one of the amazing vocal tracks of the soundtrack as well. So there's no shortage of those here, but here they've done something a little bit special. So Lorien Testard has chosen to use a Chinese instrument, I believe called a bawu here, which gives that kind of reed, I think it's a solid reed instrument. It gives it a very unique sound, even warmer than usual. And that, to me, brings forth some of the elements of what this track is trying to do. Obviously, it's a track about Lune. It's reflecting her character. And for me, within the game, she's this kind of duality of her kind of serious scientific experimental nature with this kind of undertone of vulnerability and humanity and emotional warmth. And I think that's what's happening with this track. The kind of the lyrical vocals mix with that bawu sound to give this kind of strange halfway house between sort of yearning and determination that I think kind of sums up the character that they're trying to depict here. And I think that's more than you could hope for, really, with a piece that is attempting to capture almost the soul of one of these characters. And it's done so well throughout the soundtrack for the other characters here. But for me, this one in particular is a highlight because of the reasons I've mentioned there.
One thing interesting about this track and about Lune as a character is everyone in the game is Parisian, ostensibly, right? Like in this kind of like this pseudo Paris. So it's interesting to see like some diversity, some like ethnic diversity, and have that represented in her theme with like the bawu flute. But yeah, I also think Lune is a great character who kind of gets overshadowed by her feet, maybe, by the fan base.
Yes. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was kind of looking around for this track and I'm like, what?
Thanks, the internet.
Yeah.
But I can think of I think there's maybe two instances, and I'm not going to spoil them, when this song appears in game, one in a cutscene and one like while you're exploring the world, and both of them like hit very hard, and like they remind you of Lune's humanity and like that the side with her parents and her family, right, and like the people that she's lost, right. So I don't know, I think it's a really heartbreaking theme, like really sad. I mean, beautiful, but just like one of the more sad character themes in a incredibly sad game.
Is because I don't remember exactly where this version shows up. I know there's another version that I hear a lot. I guess if you don't want to give details, is one of them like the last quest you do with her? Is it in that one of those cutscenes? Yeah,
I think it's finding a certain flag.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. No, like it's interesting. Like I got so used to the like camp versions of the character themes, like her theme and CL, that I always think of that as her theme. So actually listening to this was a good reminder that's like, no, there's this other version. Like that's an instrumental version of this track. So I haven't listened to this version as much, but so I'm glad you brought it on. It's just so beautiful. As I always do, I said this a lot in our Clair Obscur episode, but now that I've finished the game, I'm willing to look up the lyrics for these songs because you don't want to do that while you're playing. So I looked up the translation of these, and it's like, all the mentions of like night and dreams and wisdom, like all of that, along with, like you guys said, like just the feel of it, the sound of it fits her character so perfectly. And then just the wistful, melancholy tone of the vocals. It's just so perfect. And even though I like doing that with the lyrics, like as later on, I like looking up the lyrics and seeing what's said. Like you don't need to understand it either, which is important. You don't need to understand what is being said to feel longing and everything in this song, which you get that whether you understand the words or not. And as I typed that, which was the end of my notes, as I typed that, listening to this, the song ended on YouTube, and then a loud, obnoxious Little Caesars ad came up, which really took me out of the moment.
That's an awful juxtaposition.
This is not what I want right now.
Hot and ready for those who come after.
Yeah, I mean, actually, for Matt and Paul, you probably don't have any of those ads, which is great.
I don't. Because they're YouTube Premium.
Their campaign right now is like this guy on a talking deer, and they like just kind of like show up at places and have the reindeer like talking to people and about ordering cheap pizzas. Anyway, not what I wanted out of this theme. So I'll try to like remove that connection in my brain. But like this just happened last night, so it's still unfortunately fresh. Thank you for this song. This song was great.
Yeah. You know, what's crazy is, you know, I mean, I've spent so much time with this soundtrack over the year. I feel when I look back over the review that I penned for the site, you know, I could probably increase it sixfold based on future listens and certainly after I played the game, right? There's just so much. There's so much. And Paul, I gotta say, your analysis of this track, spot on. The right, I just used the word juxtaposition around Little Caesars, but the juxtaposition between the Chinese flute, the bao, and Alice's voice, capturing this sort of dual nature of Lune's personality. Like, I'd never thought of that. I've done so much thinking and feeling and experiencing of this soundtrack, not once had that in my head, and then you just said it and it like unlocked something in me. So thank you.
Yeah, Alice is like the pepperoni, and the Bawu flute is like the cheesy stuffed crust. You know what I mean?
No. I'm kicking you from across the ocean, Matt.
I get the metaphor, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Pat. But I think that's just telling. I mean, obviously you've done so much work on this, and it's just telling of how much you can get from this, the multiple layers of one track here, but you know, the whole soundtrack. And as Mike was saying as well, probably best not to look at the lyrics until you finish the game. But it can be valuable afterwards, as you see that repeated refrain of demi-lune or half moon. For me, that's again bringing that kind of theme that I was mentioning, that duality. So yeah, no, I appreciate what you say that Pat, because I just listening to you guys speak as well is really making me feel think even more in depth about a track that I've listened to quite a few times.
I also love, like, on the soundtrack as a whole, how often like the title of the game comes up in the lyrics. Like, I can't think of any other game that does that, or even like any soundtrack that does that. And like, I don't know what to say about it, but it just makes me reflect on like the use of music in the game, I guess, right? It does all feel very intentional and carefully plotted.
Yeah. Well, the theme of light and darkness, obviously.
Right.
Especially from the light and darkness from the perspective of something versus nothing. Like, I've painted something versus I've erased it, or it was never there. Like, all of that context of light and darkness. Because I think that's Clair Obscur is how you would refer to specifically how it appears on a canvas.
Yeah.
So referring to that in so many of the songs makes a lot of sense, I think.
I was going to say, like, it could be done wrong or be heavy-handed. And, you know, in so many cases, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work if any Final Fantasy vocal team starts thinking about this is the Final Fantasy or something. It'd be like,
it's
all right.
Final Fantasy.
Oh, wait, no, hang on. If you do it like that.
Yeah, I was trying to stop myself laughing, Mike, because I was thinking this is the exact same thing before you said it. Like, it's Final Fantasy, you know, in the middle of each track. Yeah, brilliantly done here.
Persona.
But
yeah, I'm glad that most games don't try to do that. Like, you know, not many games can pull it off like this game can.
Yeah, it's a quest for dragons. It's a dragon quest. Yeah.
I guess last thing I do want to mention, just for what it's worth, I don't know where people land on each of the characters, but I love Lune. I always have. Like, there's a few characters I would switch in and out of my party, but like when I play the game, like I don't think she's ever left my party. I'm like, I'll change this person, I'll change that person out, but I'm like, she's very cool. Her abilities are really useful, and like I really never took her out. Unfortunately, I didn't know about the, I mean, it's a very small thing. I don't think it's really a spoiler, but I didn't know about the semi-romance subplot between where you technically are choosing between CL and Lune, because I just made a dialogue choice with CL, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know until much later that you actually could have gone a different way with that. So maybe I'll
you walked in with CL.
Well, I didn't know I was. I didn't know that was even a thing in the game. Although I might have still done that. But I still want to see the other route at some point.
I kind of like the subtlety there, that it wasn't just like, kind of how it would look in like a Bethesda dialogue, like Fallout or Elder Scrolls, where it's just like this, and then in parentheses romance, and it's
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, guys.
Baldur's Gate 3 did that, and I accidentally, on my first playthrough, I accidentally romanced Gale because he was like, I'm going to show you some magic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a magician. I want to learn magic. and then we had that sexy magic scene, and everyone in camp is like, so you and Gale, huh? And I'm like, what? No, he showed me magic.
Nobody,
that's funny. Yeah. That's funny.
Nobody
Matt, he was flirting with you.
Yeah. Nobody leave Matt alone at a party. It could get dangerous. So,
no more magic shows. I don't want to see any magic.
You missed the cue, Matt. He was flirting. Oh gosh. All right.
Yeah, we are off track. I think we should let Paul introduce his next song.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. The next track that I would like to bring to the Music of the Year podcast comes from a game I have not actually played. I haven't admitted this to you all yet. No, I haven't played Hades 2 yet. I'm still in the middle of Hades 1. Because I promise I'm only allowed to play it with my family. They get really angry if I do it on my own, which makes it really difficult for something that you've got to do 1 million times in order to get, or at least in my case, get good enough to get anywhere in it. So I have not played Hades 2, but I loved the soundtrack of the original Hades so much. I knew I was going to would be produced for its sequel, and inevitably I did. So I think the first time I was hearing it, I think, was listening to some of our earlier rhythm episodes, and I think it was Solosi brought on Coral Crown, and that really, absolutely hit me like a ton of bricks when I heard that. It was just so fantastical, and as I've mentioned elsewhere, sort of a kind of musical theatre feel to it, which I love. But what I think the heart and soul of Hades to me lies potentially elsewhere. And the track I've picked to kind of reflect that is Doomed City. And this is, of course, by Darren Korb. Okay, so that was Doom City, and I think as I mentioned, what I kind of love about Hades and Hades 2 is the music. Necessarily, it's got to have this intensifying effect on the player as they're involved in the action, to drive you up, to keep you going, and I think this track really does that. It has this kind of you've got the kind of Greek strings in there, giving that ancient feel, bringing you into that environment and the storyline, and there's this kind of ascending repetition in the beginning of the track with that kind of sense of urgency that's increasing all the while until we get to the middle break, when it completely shifts into this kind of electronic form. And I just really adore that. It's like I mean, I don't know the context for this, so I am looking to I think some of you will be able to provide that. But I think the two-phase form of that and the blending of the ancient world, and I really love I love ancient Greek settings, so that really appeals to me. That blending of that with that modern interpretation of it is something that really hits essentially for me. Bridging the two worlds between the old and the new, and yeah, I don't know what more I can say. I just love. There are some tracks on the album that have been sung much more often in the house, including, as I mentioned, Coral Crown and the sequel to it, I'm Gonna Claw Out Your Eyes and Drown You to Death, which we're constantly belting out in this household. But yeah, as I mentioned,
I actually really like Bewitching Eyes, the third song they did for Skilla.
Yeah.
I hope you weren't belting out, clawing out people's eyes like during like any holiday parties with relatives over, because they wouldn't have had the context.
We can get quite intense here, to be fair, and people just think that's just normal behaviour.
Oh, okay. They'll be like, oh yeah, here they go again.
Yeah,
I'm just going to call somebody.
Yeah, it happened when somebody took the last of the cranberry sauce, and that's just, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'd be there with you, yeah. That's one of my favorites.
Same.
Yeah, okay. It actually makes me feel a little better that you are in the same place as me, like partway through the first game.
We were talking off air. You're in the same position as Paul, aren't you, Mike?
Yeah, where I'm like, I mean, I want to play the game, but there's no way I'm going to jump into the second one without finishing, or at least finishing more of the original game. But yeah, I mean, what a cool track. Like I was writing down my notes and thinking about what to say, and like everything I was thinking about and going to say vanished from my head about the 3-minute and 55-second mark. And then the song completely transforms, which was such a fun surprise. It's basically a disco. But like, I mean, the first half, I do like the first half too. Like it has really, really great, like plucky string work and like such a cool, like smooth flow to it. And then it just like, it totally turns into something else, which was like just as exciting, but in a very, very different way. If we were still doing blocks and pairing things up, I almost could have seen like this leading into Pat's Final Fantasy XI track, just for like the excitement and the energy level of it. Very cool. Thank you for bringing this one too. So at some point, we will both get to this game. But at least we can enjoy the music either way.
It might be a while for me.
Yeah, so real quick, if Clair Obscur didn't exist, Hades 2 would be my pick for like game of the year. That's complicated though, because a sizable portion of it was out in 2024, including the soundtrack. But the full official release was in 2025, and I didn't start playing it until then. I'm kind of glad I waited, because they did, alongside the added story, they did a lot of balancing of the game mechanics. I don't think I'm spoiling this by saying this, but the juxtaposition of sort of the pathways that you take between Hades 1 and 2 is really interesting. You play as Zagreus in the first game, and you start deep in the underworld and kind of work your way to the surface. In Hades 2, you play as Zagreus' little sister Melanoe. And at first, you're starting in this sort of wood between the worlds surface-ish area and working your way down to the depths of the underworld. But then after doing that enough times, they go, we also need you up in Olympus. And a whole second half of the game opens where instead of just the 4 main zones downward, you get 4 main zones upward. And the first of those 4 settings is the city of Aphira, and that is the doomed city. That's what this music is for. And what's funny to me is they don't mention this at all in any flavor text, and I'm sure they didn't because I have definitely seen all the flavor text. All of it. I'm not kidding. Aphira used to be the city kingdom of a little guy named Sisyphus, if you guys know your Greek mythology. Mm-hmm. Sisyphus was an important minor character in the first Hades, and he gets referenced in Hades 2, but never in the context of his origin story, where he held Thanatos captive for 30 days to try to achieve immortality, and then his punishment for trying to break the laws of the universe is, as everyone knows, pushing the boulder up the hill forever. They don't mention that the whole time you're in Aphira. None of the other characters kind of bring it up.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it is. I guess maybe too much time has passed. When you get to Aphira, it's a dead city now. Things are horrible. Nothing's really happening except there's sort of zombie ghost characters walking around. If they're shades, they don't really belong there. You meet a character, Medea, who's a witch, and she's great. And then the Cyclops Polyphemus, the one that Odysseus fought in the Odyssey, is the boss of that zone. And I was talking with Matt about this earlier. What makes Aphira such a great addition to the entirety of Hades 2 is, unlike pretty much any other zone in the game, it's hub-based. You walk into the city and there's just like 8 to 10 doors, and you have to clear 6 of them. And then even within those, sometimes you can get sub-doors for bonuses. And so you're just sort of clearing this town, and you get to kind of set your build really early on, which and really more intentionally than you did in Hades 1 or in the underworld path of Hades 2. The closest thing would be in Hades 1, you guys may remember in the last zone, you got to find the, I think it's the food that Cerberus wants, and there's like 5 paths, mm-hmm. and you can take like a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 5, something like that.
With the fawns and the Rat King and everything.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep. So, yeah, Aphira is a little bit like that. But what's so cool is because you're returning to the center, and it feels much more cohesively like one town, and there's a lot of cool events that take place here. You can meet Heracles here, and there's like sequences where sometimes Polyphemus sniffs you out and is throwing boulders at you from off screen. Like, it's a really great zone, and I think this was... I would love to know. I would love to spend some time with Darren and find out how much access did he have to the game? How much of the game was finished before he wrote the song? Or did he write this song first, and then the rest of the dev team placed this song with this area? Because I think it is a perfect freaking match. The A part and the B part, which a lot of the area themes are very clearly A part, B part, and they're in this sort of 6 to 8 minute range of composition. So, generally I think all the area themes are well made, but Aphira's Doomed City is just really perfect. I feel just sort of that sort of acoustic piece, and then like we all talked about, the second half kind of taking it up a notch. Really goes well with the experience of playing through this area. One last thing I'll say is there's this part of the song where there's just this trade back and forth between a 4 and a minor 6 chord, and the melody rises on the 4 and then plays around and dips back down on the minor 6. and it is something very similar to one of the key bits of music that is used in Shadow of the Colossus. If you know the part I'm talking about in Doom City and you've played Shadow of the Colossus, you'll hear it in your head immediately. I don't want to sing it, but it's right there. And I don't know if Darren's played Shadow of the Colossus. Obviously, this harmonic and melodic technique has probably been used in dozens of places other than that, but I think for me, the power of that melody has always stuck with me from Shadow of the Colossus. And I loved playing, in game, playing it and then like taking on like a particularly challenging room, or I just finished, getting a boon from one of the gods, and then you just walk in the city and it's like, I'm singing. I'm not going to sing.
Come on, you can sing.
Yeah, without a bass note to clarify the chord, it doesn't sound right. But you guys, I mean, I'm sure you know it. It's that really simple like pizzicato string line. Dun, 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 I'm doing it. Didn't mean to, but it's one of the best parts of the song, in my opinion. Darren doesn't go hard on it. He saves it for just the right moment too. It's like this is my secret weapon in the first half, by the way, but he only touches it like once or twice, and everything around it is a little more ambient. But that melody just, ooh. So yeah, I hope that gives good context around the song and, in game. And yeah, I love this song. I hope I left something for you to talk about, Matt. I'm sorry, I got carried away.
No. This is like a really interesting soundtrack. And I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I think my review of the soundtrack will have been up on the site.
Go Matt. Go Hades to us to you.
And it has like a lot of the stuff that you love from Hades 1, like the theremin is always there, kind of like riding along the melody. But like each area, especially like in the upwards route, is just so unique. And like this was my favorite area musically. The 3 different boss themes for Polyphemus were fantastic, and they like incorporate other like guest performances from different artists that are great, like a flautist, I guess, and a guitarist. And even like the higher you get up Mount Olympus, Austin Wintory joins the soundtrack, which is like a totally new flair for the Hades series. But I just love the music. Although we were talking about this a few days ago, Pat, is the many releases of this game and of its music being added on and on and on. There doesn't seem to be one official track listing, which I thought was really interesting, because this is a very hard game to translate from like what you hear in game to like a full soundtrack. And this track is a great example of that, because the average room in Hades will, you fight a battle and it's over within like 12 seconds, you know what I mean? And you're dashing into the next room. And so like for them to kind of compile everything into like these area themes, which are each like 8-9 minutes long, right? I just thought that was really interesting. And like, and also like speaking of the track list of like where to put it, right? Because people, especially in Hades 2, will experience it in different ways. It's like, okay, I'm tired of doing the downwards route, I'm going to go upwards. They do a kind of an interesting job of like ping-ponging themes from like both directions, I think.
Yes, that's an important point. People who notice that's sharp ears. Good job, Matt.
It's just like the layout of the soundtrack I thought was really interesting. But I mean, musically, this track is awesome. It really pumps you up. The second half with the boss theme is like, such a new flavor. And Polyphemus as a character, as a boss, is like so funny, so charming, and kind of unlike any other monster that you fight in the series, to the point where like he's actually not immortal. So every time that you defeat him, you just knock him out and he just laser unconscious. And then you kind of like befriend him over like the course of the game in like this weird like rivalry between him and Melanoe. So I think this is a great pick, Paul, and I'm excited, to hear what you think when you actually play the game too. I think you're going to love it.
That's really encouraging me to do. I need to get a move on. But it's interesting though that you mentioned theremin as an instrument as well, because I think that was one of the things that hit me too. As I was talking about that mixture old and new. The theremin has a strange sound where it is an electronic instrument, but it could be both. It kind of fits with the Greek strings and the electronic, and it's like a bridge between the two. It's very interesting.
Right. It's so hyper analog that if you just think of any fretless string instrument, the pitch bending is something that is,
it sounds ghostly in a way.
Yeah,
like a
microtonal
soul.
work has probably been around longer than like scales, like that's how ancient it is.
And all those like Hades 1 elements, like the theremin and also like the percussion, like the dunka-chunka-dunka-dunka-chunka-dunka, like that appears so many times in Hades 2 as well. So it's really familiar, but like it branches off into really interesting directions.
Okay, so moving on then to my final track, and this comes from a really pleasant surprise of a little indie game for me, and the track is Kiki Katai, composed by Murasaki and sung by Kanaka Tata from the game Urban Myth Dissolution Center.
実は不透明どうせ底辺とんでもないテーマで溢れてテンパした弟子の海で増えてく無数の大きれさはあやんなちゃうもうワンなちゃうムカムカしてくる芋まいる腐ったフィレバーガーよりも備前回でさ人魚食らわば不死身かって無理だな暇人邪神ばかりたかりボロやばい想像流したのは誰一体どこで間違えたわからないならばと解体して叱る天罰とすげ替わり透けた素直にそれまた明日は我が身と辛辣にうなる叩くたたるレンタルとまだ遠い無縁と詮索をひっそりと眺めては閉じる抜かす人や刹那の感情はどこへひっそりと廃墟忍び込んだバイト機械受け付けとはない対価は金か命かバイさあはあやんなっちゃうもうはいなっちゃう消えるともしび牛密度きこんなことなりゃデートでもしとけよかったな背後振り向きゃ綺麗かって微笑むもうダッシュで別れ駅へホームへどこへ行けどネスタ犯したのは誰一体どこで怪我されたわからないならばそう会いたいし祭るイェイイェイと見えすいた手垢にまみれて望むなら愛に乗ってましうなる回る全額を超えた先火種は消えずに危機としてうごめきざわめく笑う人よ優越は快楽と見つけ叱る天罰とすげ替わり透けたそのみそでまた明日は我が身と辛辣にうなる叩くたたるメンタルとまだ遠い無縁と詮索をひっそりと眺めては閉じる抜かす人や刹那の感情はどこへ優越は快楽と満ちて現世をどこまでも続け
That was Kikikatai, which just goes round and round and round in my head constantly now. I just love everything about it. It's very reflective of the game itself, which is, if you've not played it, it's a pseudo visual novel with kind of detective elements about urban myths, and layered with these, this supernatural element, as your main character is this girl who can put on these glasses and sees extra elements around her anyway. And I just love the juxtaposition of the kind of like, the kind of rapping element, giving it that kind of like grounded level, and then mixing it with these with the vocals of the main vocalist here, which kind of spiral around, and both of them are slightly off kilter, giving you this kind of sense that the world is kind of almost slipping away, which is what I like about both of these elements of this track. I think that just it speaks to the nature of the game itself. With you have this reality that's barely confined and constrained, and it's breaking apart all over the place. And what's better than this track, which actually appears at the end of kind of each episode, once you've had your kind of expectations completely annihilated. You get this track, which could be the opening to an anime or something, I think. I'm really eager to hear what you all think of it. I don't know how much context you have for this.
Yeah, I have not played this game, but I've really been itching to play it. It's been advertised all year, all around Japan, especially in Tokyo. I see it on the train all the time, and I'm always like, what is that game? Like, it looks so stylistically cool. So I'm glad that the music holds up as being as cool as the visual style. A couple things that like jumped out at me is like the rapping lyrics within it. I love that, like, it feels very like youthful, like the slang that she uses within it is like, we have a word here like they call like yonki, which are like street punks or like townies, right? And they have this kind of like lazy, angry way of talking, and she's rapping in with their slang, so it feels very true to like, downtown Tokyo, like you think of Shibuya or like Harajuku or something like that. I thought that was cool, and I just love like the contextually, like within the lyrics, she mentions a few like references to popular urban legends around Japan and especially around Tokyo. Like she talks about like the character saying like behind you, like kirei ka, like am I beautiful, which is kuchisake onna, this kind of like monster slit-faced woman that attacks people downtown, and there's a lot of cool like depth to it, like, you know what I mean? It feels very genuine in that way. And musically it's very fun, and like it's got a lot of attitude behind it, so yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
I agree with all that. For me, it does feel like your reward at the end of every single episode is you'll get to hear this.
Yeah, I don't really have any personal context, but I'm with Matt. Well, not the part where I see it advertised everywhere, because I don't live in Japan. But every time I like listen to some of the music and see the game and remember that this was a game that came out this year, I do want to check it out. It looks and sounds very cool. And I realized, I looked back at my like YouTube history, and I've listened to this whole soundtrack except for this song, apparently, because I listened to it, I think probably for one of our new music episodes this year. And it's music that fits what the game looks like. It's like chiptune and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. So like when I listened to this, I was like, how did I miss this? How did I miss this track on my previous listens? Really, really cool. I mean, overall, I like the soundtrack has like it has like some nice tension to it, and some of the songs almost feel like darker takes on like an Ace Attorney soundtrack or something. Yeah. So like it's another case where I'm like, oh, I know, I have an idea of what this is going to be when you said I'm going to bring on a song from this game, and I didn't. So much fun. So thank you for introducing me to apparently the one song I missed on the album, and reminding me again that this needs to go on my list of things to play this year. Yeah,
I feel a bit guilty because I think this is the only track not done by the main composer, who believes it's called Ada P. And as you say, Mike, the rest of the soundtrack is some absolutely there's some fantastic stuff in there as well. But I just had to go with this one because it is such a, as I said, such an eternal staple here at the moment.
Yeah, I really dig the, just sort of this sort of anime vocal opening kind of vibe. The thing that keeps coming to mind for me is studios like 5PB and Mages. What do you call that? The science adventure mega series that includes like Steins Gate and Chaos Head and all of that. There are tons of vocal opening and ending themes that have been done by all these different vocalists over the last 15 years, and some are better than others. But some of the best ones that I can think of, a lot of them by a vocalist named Yui Sakakibara, sort of mixing that upbeat drive with someone who has the range of I can rap, and also like I can sing like bordering on like opera style soprano. It reminds me a lot of some of the stronger pieces that have existed in that range and in those particular visual novels that I think a lot of visual novels could never quite land that type of vocal theme. And it was nice to hear something that was sort of in that vein, but also new and refreshing. So yeah, I had never heard this track before, and I am a better person for having heard it. So again, thank you, Paul.
No problem.
On what you said there, Patrick, like one thing that kind of annoys me about game like anime-ish games and anime themselves are like the intros are always done by usually pretty established bands, right? You have bands like Rad Wimps or like Bump of Chicken or something like that. And to me, it always feels like, okay, they're servicing the band, not like the property or the IP. But the performer here, the singer and rapper, her name is Kana Katada, and she's like a relative unknown, you know what I mean? So I love that, like, she's very much servicing like the story of the game, it seems like, in the vibe of the game. So I love, like, you can really see how it pairs well. It's not just like a chance to promote a single from her new album or something like that, so I love that.
Yeah, and you brought a lot of insight with the lyrics there, Matt. So thank you. I was really looking forward to hearing with your knowledge what you thought of that. But yeah, that's exactly it. We can see from the lyrics, from the tonality of it as well, but from the lyrics, it is very specifically for this game, very heavily linked to it, and that's perfect. That's what you want, hourly, and from the meanings contained within it. It's just part of why I love it so much.
All right, are we ready to move on?
Is it Matt time?
It is Matt time if everyone's good with it.
I love Matt time.
Matt time is one of my favorite times. That's true.
Everyone tuck in, it's time for Matt time. All right, so the first track that I'm bringing from 2025 is a game that is not unknown by any means, but I feel like it got a kind of a bad rap this year, and people often overlook like how stupendous the music is in this game and in this series as a whole. So I'm talking about Monster Hunter Wilds, the track Toward Unseen Horizons, which is the main menu theme, composed by Miwako Chinone. All right, everybody, let's get wild. So that was Toward Unseen Horizons, the main menu theme from Monster Hunter Wilds. This one, I mean, playing the game this year, this is one of the tracks that really blew me away. Like every time I booted up the game, you have this very cute animation of a first-person view of your hunter waking up in your tent, seeing your cat thing that I forget what they're called, and then seeing your assistant lady, who I forget what she's called, and just exiting the tent, and then like whatever area you had saved the game in previously, you get this expansive shot of the wilds, right? And this is actually not the main theme of the game, but the melody is used in like that kind of soaring crescendo that happens twice in this version. That's from the main theme. But I love this one just because you have this epic moment, and then it kind of dwindles back down into this peace and this calm, which I think it really captures like the beauty of nature, which I think is actually the title of the main theme, the beauty of nature. But you really get that sense in this track, which I think Monster Hunter always rides a really fine line between like, okay, the purpose of the game is to like hunt monsters and like, hey, I want a new hat. I'm going to kill like 12 of these magnificent creatures so that I can like get a new hat, you know, and trying to justify that to be like, no, but it's good for the environment, you know? So I think the music in this game is so lushly produced and recorded, and listeners and people present, I dare you to find a more like finely produced album this year. Like it is just so gorgeous, so much work put into it by so many people. Yeah, I love this track. It's Hollywood level orchestration, I feel like. But what do you guys think?
I'm glad you mentioned the hat thing, because that was one of my first experiences with the series, was watching a friend of mine play, and I know this isn't like every monster, but like the one part I sat down to watch is like he had to hunt this monster and like follow it back to its nest, and like it wasn't attacking anyone. Like it was just like we were sitting there and his wife was like, wait a minute, like is it causing a problem? Because it seems like it's just there and you just have to go hunt it and kill it. And I'm like, I don't know if I like this. And I know that's not the whole game, but I was like, that was my first exposure and I felt a little guilty. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
That's every single monster. It's like by the time you kill them, they're like sweating and panting and like trying to run away from you. It's pretty, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that aside, this track is so beautiful. It's so like majestic and inspiring.
Yeah.
It took me like 3 listens to latch onto that fact, and then how it kind of like it sort of gave me visions of like the Lion King soundtrack in that way, like some of the themes in that. Now I realize in that context, then Matt, you would be like hunting Simba for parts to make hats out of him. Or you can
it's a circle of life.
Yeah. So that's
you become my hat and I wear you. That's the circle of life.
You're still talking about Simba, not me, right?
Yeah. Oh, does the light touch you? Then you're mine.
No, actually, right now the light is streaming in, but it's going behind my chair, so I think I'm safe from you.
Mike's in the elephant graveyard.
Yeah.
I mean, if it keeps me safe from Matt, then that's where I'm going to be.
Pat and Paul are going to come out from behind a big skeleton.
Pat and Paul are the hyenas.
We're the hyenas.
That's right. Beautiful. All right.
I want to be the Whoopi Goldberg hyena.
Yeah.
I should call dibs.
Okay. But yes, seriously, like this really is beautiful. Like you said, you're trying to convince people to listen to this, and this has convinced me to listen to it. I think it did get overshadowed. I feel like, you were saying like maybe some people, I don't know if it was just this, but I feel like what I heard about a lot when this game came out was like the PC version especially was like not a great port at launch. I hope it's better now. So maybe that kind of like soured people on it, but I mean, the game looks great. The music is fantastic. Just there are some parts of the song that are so delicate. It almost sounds like a little bit of a rain or like a trickle of a river or something. And just the string work throughout is just gorgeous. So yeah, really, really nice. Yeah,
I mean, it's funny that you what you were talking about there, Matt, because I had no experience of this at all, but immediately the sort of phrase that came to mind was sort of open vistas, and that kind of huge panoramic views that we might imagine from this track. There's that kind of sense to me of like a almost like a yearning sound with, the strings and the flute, but with the percussion coming in later on, which is adding that element of danger, which I guess is what we get from a game about hunting monsters. And I mentioned earlier on that Yumia was a little darker, which appealed to me, but I think the more you talk about hunting and skinning cuddly things, it's just trying to make me think maybe this is too dark for me even. I'm not sure.
they do it really well. It's T-rated, and like they make it cute somehow. Like magically it's like charming, even though you're like a poacher.
Yeah, but this track that you've brought here and the description you have does make me think that maybe I should give this a try. Yeah, like Mike, I've heard that although I principally play on console, that the PC build was a little bit broken. There's been some other issues with it, but I've also heard that this is maybe one of the more accessible places to start with Monster Hunter. And if you're getting this, as you said, this kind of production value, as you said, Matt, to the soundtrack too, and you get to hear more of this as you go through it, then maybe it is time to jump on this train.
I think it's a good jumping on point. It and World are like have a similar kind of epic scale. Rise, I find to be like the Switch one, which is now on every console and PC. Rise is like really accessible, and the music is, I'm not going to say like lower quality, but it doesn't have like the same budget behind it, I feel like, and it shows. But it's still, the compositions are fantastic. But yeah, if you want 8 hours of like this music, this is where you find it in the Wild soundtrack.
Yeah, when you said budget, that's the thing that came to mind for me is historically Capcom has not spared expense on Monster Hunter music. They have really invested in good high quality orchestration for years and years with this series. It's been hard for me to gravitate towards it over the years because like we said off air, I never really got into the games themselves, so I don't have a lot of an emotional connection there, but there's never been any denying for me that this is very high quality music. We're also talking about Miwako Shinone being part of the sound team for a while, but really taking lead for Wilds. And I think doing the main theme and, this version of it, the menu theme, really stands out as, something that it's the kind of piece that reminds me that even though I'm like, oh yeah, Clair Obscur is the music of the year and I'll still stand by it, it's like I can never keep up with everything, and Monster Hunter tends to be a blind spot for me. So as I said to Paul, thank you, Matt, because this expanded my horizons as well.
Well, you're very welcome. Well, if we're all wilded out, I think it's time to mellow down a little bit with my next track, which is quite a sad one. So get your tissue boxes ready, everybody. My second track that I'm bringing today is called The Clear Blue Sky from Lies of P Overture, the DLC that came out earlier this year. The composer of this specific track is an artist who goes by the name Tsukasa, but his real name is Yosuke Hatakeyama. So this is The Clear Blue Sky.
Open your eyes, open up the clear blue sky. I'll be there to hold you close in my mind. Can you see the snow melting down the sea below? Celebrate every new day.
Now, if I told you I didn't love this track, my nose would grow 10 feet long. You know what I mean? So, not the best transition, but this song is one of many collectible records in Lies of P and the expanded soundtrack, which is almost as long as the original soundtrack in Lies of P Overture. So I'm a latecomer to Lies of P, even though I'm a huge Souls-like fan. I just kind of wrote this one off as a Bloodborne ripoff, which stylistically and gameplay-wise, it very much is, and yet it is like one of the best Souls-likes I've ever played. And the soundtrack is no small part of that. In the base game, you have your standard soundtrack, which is, you know, everything that you would expect from like a Souls-like game, these kind of epic horns and pounding drums as you're fighting a boss. But the aspect of the soundtrack that really stands out to me is when you do the side quests having to do with the different NPCs in the world. When you see their side quests through to the end, usually it has a tragic ending that is like showing P, the stand-in for Pinocchio, like, this is what it means to be human. It's bittersweet. And then they give you a record that you can play in Hotel Krat, which is the hub world of the game. So anytime that you go back to the hub and you're upgrading your weapons or you're buying items or you're talking to NPCs, you have a record player of records that you've collected from different side quests, and it's playing on a playlist in the background. And it just adds so much emotion to a game where like the crux of the story is like what makes a human human, right? And is it emotion? Is it the ability to lie? So yeah, it adds like a humanity to the Souls-like genre that I never really wanted from, but like I never knew that I needed. You know what I mean? So that's the base game. Overture is like, I just played it this Christmas break, and I might just be like still buzzed from the experience, but it's one of the finest DLCs I've ever played in any game ever. It is truly excellent, and like even like way better than the base game itself too. And the music, again, they add like a huge collection of collectible records and a fine, score on top of that. So all that to say, this track, I picked this one. It doesn't really have like a special connection to the NPC. She's a blind painter who you meet a few times, and then, I'm not going to spoil what happens to her, but she gifts you, if you meet certain criteria, she gives you this painting that you hang in the hotel lobby, and she gives you this record. It's a very poppy, sad, jazzy kind of song, but I just loved it for how approachable it is. I think if you played anybody this song, they wouldn't think that it comes from a Souls-like game, right? I think they would be shocked to hear that. But yeah, what did you guys think of this track, and what are your impressions?
I was surprised by it for all the reasons you just said. I didn't think it belonged. I thought maybe it would belong stylistically, just considering like art assets and the character. But I didn't see how it would fit in the context of the game. Now that you have explained the system with the records, it makes a lot more sense to me. I'm glad there's a good context for this piece existing in the game, and I'm curious to kind of listen to all the records then to see what the breadth of it all is. But you're right, this is a really beautiful and sad vocal theme that I really enjoyed, and wouldn't have expected it from Lies of P, but that's what I get for having narrow expectations.
Shame on you, Patrick.
Shame on me.
I heard good things about Lies of P when the original game came out, but I feel like I've heard even more positive stuff about Overture. I'm not sure who else played it on the site besides you and Zach. I know Zach likes it too. But yeah, like really, really positive. This was not the sound I was expecting from the game because for a Bloodborne style game. But that's just the theme today, I guess. I think our main themes of this episode are piano arrangements and
yes,
and then surprising vocal themes, or just surprises in general. But like it feels just so heartfelt. The guitar is really great. The vocals, I don't like doing. I try not to do comparisons too much. I don't want to say it sounds or makes me think of Nier a little bit, and like in a reductive way, like, oh well, this just sounds like something else. But it does give me that vibe a little bit. It has like this nice like airiness to it that really pairs really well with the music. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position. Strangely, just sort of stumbled across this track the other day independently, and immediately was really blown away by it. Unlike Matt, I'm not a Souls-like fan, unfortunately, but there's something about Lies of P that's always really drawn me to think that if I was going to give the genre more of a go, then I would pick this up. And this track encourages me to do that. I think the clear sort of draw here is the vocals. I believe, is this the version sung by is it Yunsei Jo? And I think she's put this a version that's up on her own channel, if I'm right, if I remember correctly. I think that's where I saw it. But her vocals are kind of dreamy, soulful thing that she's doing here. I mean, there's some great instrumentation behind it, but she's really elevating this track with the work that she's doing here. And I think this is just an excellent pick. And if the rest of the Overture soundtrack is like this, then it feels like it's definitely worth checking out. As per Pat, I thank you, Matt, for bringing this on.
Yeah, a lot of the tracks, like a lot of the records that you collect, they also have like a golden version, which is like an alternate version. Sometimes instrumental, sometimes the instruments change, sometimes the vocalist changes. So there's also like a variety of tracks like this too. I think the golden one of this might just be. Oh no! Definitely check out the golden version of this one, because it's like a slowed down jazzy version, kind of like rain drenched. It's really beautiful. And yeah, like I'd encourage anyone to play Lies of P. It has a adjustable difficulty as well, so it's much more approachable than like Bloodborne, for example.
So I can whack it up really hard, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, there are times where I was like, this boss is too much, you know what I mean? So no shame in that. And also I've played pretty much every Souls like under the sun, and I do not play them for the story really, or for the emotions. So there were like more than one situation in the Overture DLC where I'm like, why am I crying about this character? You know, like why do I care so much? And like, I can't dodge, my eyes are too wet. You know, like, how am I supposed to parry this boss? So they like, I was pretty blown away with like just the pathos behind this whole game, and that's really well represented in the record collection.
And I really think I agree with Mike's reference to Nier as well. Not like it feels like a blatant rip-off or anything like that, but there's definitely those influences. And also, I suppose this is a Korean developed game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's got that feel as well, that similarity to the Stellar Blade soundtrack in parts as well, I think.
I agree with that.
So, which in itself, I suppose, is also Nier influence. But yeah, there's definitely a feeling almost like a movement coming out from that.
It feels weird to say this about like an entire country. So, but like Korean products, like Korean music and Korean games, they do a really, like, you can tell that they're really consciously trying to appeal to a global audience, because all the tracks in this game, they have like an English track, a French track, a Chinese track. Strangely, there's no Korean track, but you know, they're always including like a variety of languages just to kind of appeal to as wide an audience as possible, I think. So I always appreciate that. Yeah,
I've always loved Korean film. So to see that kind of rise within the game sphere as well, and this musical aspect of it in particular is great.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys all like that.
Yeah, and all this talk is making me want to get back into my Korean dramas. It's been way too long. I'm really out of touch now. There was a hot minute where I was really into them, and then I fell off of it.
Well, you got to tell us the name of the K-drama now.
The first one I watched was Hello My 20s. It was one of the ones Netflix picked up. Which
I remember that.
At the time, I don't think they had much, although I guess they have a whole lot more now. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I got way more into it than I thought I would, and then I think one of the actresses on there was on another show or something. Like, I was like, okay, well, I like this person. Let's see this other one. And I forgot what that one was exactly. It was something like, I don't know, some woman who like fell in love with this like businessman, but she hated him, but she loved him. And you know how that goes.
I get into that rut all the time, hating and loving businessmen. But I know all too well.
Okay. Well, you don't want to watch that then. It hit too close to home.
I just said goodbye to my 20s. So yeah, that's perfect. So
yeah, transition that now.
Now it's time to say goodbye to my lies of P. No lie there. And hello to, speaking of Nier, we have my only arranged track that I'm bringing from 2025. This is a track from the album Nier Piano Journeys, and the song is A Meal, composed by the people at Monaka, and here arranged by Hiroyuki Nakayama. So this is A Meal. All right. Well, that was Emile from what may nearly be my favorite album of 2025, Near Piano Journeys. This is just, for me, the standout track on the album. Pat, when you gave me this album to review, Near Piano Journeys, I was a little bit hesitant at first because I thought, like, I love the Near music series. I love the music of the Near series. But to me, the thing that makes the music stand out are, like, the weird elements of it, like the multi-instrumentation, the electronic elements, the industrial elements, and the vocal elements especially. So I thought, what is it going to be like to strip all of that away? You know, I thought there'd be kind of nothing left to chew on. And boy, howdy, was I wrong. I think a big part of that has to do with the performer here, the pianist, Benjamin Nuss, the German pianist who has played on a lot of Final Fantasy and Square Enix and Kingdom Hearts projects especially. He is just, I mean, as you just heard, just so fantastic at squeezing every emotion, like loud and quiet, from the piano. This track in particular, like Emile, it's mixing two of the Emile themes from Nier Replicant, like the Sacrifice theme and the Karma theme, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And just the emotional journey it takes you on, like I think earlier in the show, I called it like an emotional there and back again, right? And I think I've said this in the past, like Square Enix, you just have to like chain Nuss up because you cannot let this guy go. He is just so incredible. I want to hear his interpretation on every Square Enix property now. But what did you guys think of Emile?
Well, I'll just jump in and say I'm glad he's not chained up by Square Enix, because one of my favorite piano albums this year was Across the Cosmos, which was Wayo Records' Xenosaga album, and that is 100% Benjamin Nuss. Right. So I don't want Square Enix to keep him down. He's doing more than just Square Enix projects, and he's quite good. And interestingly, the team that worked on that Xenosaga album with Benjamin Nuss on the arrangement, it's largely the same team that worked on Near Piano Journeys. Hiroyuki Nakayama is an arranger who got his start with a little-known piano series called the Piacoms. And then after that, he did the complete piano opera Final Fantasy series. It was 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. He was arranger and performer on all of those albums. You know, alongside doing those piano opera albums, Hiroyuki Nakayama has gone on to do a lot of piano arrangements as part of larger orchestra projects. And then he, alongside Miriam Abenasser and a few others, have sort of become part of a standard arrangement team, working with Benjamin Nuss on his many projects. And I mean many. I mean, alongside in 2025, he did, Near Piano Journeys and the Across the Cosmos Xenosaga. He just did his 4th Piano Schlacht album, where it's just him performing like everything Masashi Hamauzu has ever made. It's his 4th album in that series. And like the man is unstoppable. He is just so good. And I think, Square Enix had previously made like traditional piano collection albums for Nier and Nier Automata, and they were good. I mean, they weren't bad by any means, but Near Piano Journeys just kicks the pants off of those albums. These are like concerto level, blow your mind piano arrangements. And I do really enjoy the way they played, the softer Sacrifice version into a very clear up-tempo battle theme Karma variant, and then back. The arrangement there was very smart. Hiroyuki Nakayama was a very smart arranger. And then, of course, Benjamin Nuss just nailed it. Yeah, I mean, the whole album's great. Piano Journeys is a great album, but this might be in my top 3 from the track list. So yeah, good call on this one, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more I can add to that. There's some really good analysis there, and it's good to know some of this additional context and information. For me, it's just taking that Emil track, and I'm one who's only played near Replicant, not near Automata at the moment. So this really speaks to me. This is hitting me where I'm most connected at the moment, anyway. And hearing that Emil track reinterpreted in this way and brought to life, as you said, through Benjamin Nuss's fantastic performance here. It's a special moment. I can only appreciate what you've said so far about how this relates to the larger picture. But I just really appreciate what they've done.
There's a great track list on the album. Like the choices from the three like main Nier games, like Nier, Automata, and Reincarnation, are fantastic. It's like everything that you want to be there is there. I would say the only track that like I didn't love is like his version of Weight of the World, just because I feel like the vocals to that are so like integral to the emotion of that song, but like the playing is just still amazing throughout.
Yeah, that might be the only one where, when you're talking about the elements stripped away, that's the one where it's like, man, if I don't have Janique Nicole, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost difficult to imagine that. That's going to be quite problematic. Whereas
if you gave me Benjamin Nuss as piano accompaniment with
that would work.
Janique, now that I would pay money. I'd pay $30 just for that. You know.
Yeah.
Tell me, Square, why are you punishing me?
Yeah, right.
Whereas I can totally see why you've picked this, Matt, because that really distinctive, sort of almost slightly triumphant Emil theme that he has about, sort of reflecting his journey and stand against all the adversity he encounters, that works perfectly with this piano arrangement and piano performance. It brings those emotions forward. Like you say, Weight the World, I imagine, as you said, probably does struggle under that approach.
Yeah, I have the opposite issue of you, Paul, where I haven't played the first game. I've only played the second one. But, I've still listened to the music and I know the song. But even if I don't know all the context behind it, how I haven't been spoiled on exactly what happens in the first game by now is amazing. But I'm always happy when we have another reason to bring Nier music on. Like, sometimes I think of, I know a while ago, like Yoko Taro, I mean, he's made more than one comment, but I remember he made some comment at one point where he's just like, oh yeah, they're just going to milk this now just because it's just the way he is, and just like keep doing more and more stuff with it, and re-releases and more music and more games. And I'm like, I know, but I like it in this case. I'm happy that we keep getting new arrangements and remixes and so many more takes on this music because it's just that good.
Yeah, that was his liner notes commentary in the orchestra box.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, which that was around the time Square Enix started putting dual language. They would always include Japanese and English. They started around like 2018, and so I remember when I opened that box and read that, I was just like, Yoko Taro, you're a nut job, and you're right.
Yeah, right. No, I love him. The shift in the middle of the song, I mean, I understand the context now since you guys have talked about it, but wow, that's just it's such powerful like piano work all throughout, like everything from like the softest, most somber tones towards the beginning and the end, and then that middle section that's so much louder and stronger. Really, what a great listen. Yeah,
we love Benjamin Nuss here at RPG Fan. He's really fantastic. Well, thank you for listening to my 3 tracks, everybody. I'll pass the torch now to Mike. It's Mike time.
I love Mike time.
Thank
it's
you
every bit as good as Matt time.
Well,
go on, Matt.
No.
What's your hesitation?
You got the mic.
One way
Mike
or the other.
Mic.
Okay. If you're hesitating towards it's not as good or it's better than, I'm going to react differently.
My New Year's resolution is to not speak ill of others, so go Mike.
Wow.
Oh man, Matt, you're killing me. I love it.
Just
kidding. I'm really happy, Matt, that your last appearance in Rhythm Encounter was at least for such a big episode like this. So I'm so happy you're here.
Please split this one into 4 parts so I can be on more.
All right. So our last section of music today is mine. Like apparently several of us did today. I wanted at least one arrangement along with some original stuff. So the arrangement I knew I wanted was off the new, like this came out, a few weeks ago, Chrono Trigger piano soundscape arrangement. And this is Lavos' theme from that album, composed by Yasunori Mitsuda and arranged by Shogo Nomura. All right, so that was Lavos' theme, and this album is so very interesting to me. I wasn't sure what to expect, like when I first heard it before I got the album, with the piano soundscape title. And some of the tracks on here are like, oh, this is just a nice piano rendition of this theme, mostly. But so I was kind of hopping around and picking things and like, okay, this is fun. And I'm like, I didn't quite get the soundscape thing. This is the first one where it really clicked to me, where I'm like, oh, this is what this album is doing. It's not just a Chrono Trigger piano album, which would still be nice. I really wanted to see like how one of the most serious and like darkest themes of the game would translate to piano. And what we got here is this like cool medley of themes, like about or in or around and related to Lavos, but also other themes in the game too. And it's just performed with such care and talent, and the way each of the different songs and melodies like weaves into the next one. There's like so much range in these like 5 minutes of this track. And, it gives us insight into like everything from the incredible burden on our characters to like save this world across all these different time periods. And my favorite, if I had to pick like a little segment that I like the most, it's like this, it's a 30-second moment between like 150 and 220. It's so moving and like a little bit chilling. It's the whole track is wonderful, of course, so I don't want to like focus too much on those 30 seconds, but that moment, just that little shift for that little period, brings back so many memories and visions of the game. So, I want to go through and like really give each track on this album the same detailed listen. But this was what I was hoping for with this album, is like this kind of treatment. And this track just really surprised and delighted me.
Yeah, this is proving to be a really interesting album. I mean, part of the soundscape title is that this is not purely a piano solo album. There's some of the tracks have a little, light additional instrumentation, also some like effects mix and production, like on Robo's theme as an example. And so I really like that they didn't just go pure piano, but at the same time, on this particular track, there's none of that. This is a sort of pure piano piece, and at the same time, it is not just Lavos' theme, like you said. It pulls in like 3 different motifs, I think, from the OST, and really, yeah. I think you used the word like the way it tells the story. Like this is a very good storytelling piece. And I think much of this album does that well across, these tracks that are just named after the characters and the character themes, but they're not always just that. So it's a little more robust and a little more thematic. So, I do have a lot of positive feelings about this album so far. And I hadn't paid much attention to this particular track, the Lavos theme track, until you added it for this episode, Mike. And with each subsequent listen, I like it more and more. And specifically, that section that you were speaking of, that's the part that jumped out to me as well.
I thought this was a really unconventional pick from the album, so I was really interested that you chose this one, Mike. This is another case where like I kind of prefer this one over the original, just because of the way that the original Lavos' theme always kind of sounded a little too similar to Kefka's theme, like the Dancing Mad, one of the movements in Dancing Mad to me, which they use in like the title screen of Final Fantasy VI.
The intro, you're descending on these big chords. Yep.
It was a little too similar like in the original version, so I like how this one differentiates it more. And I personally love like the Peaceful Days, like that's one of the callbacks that they make in the middle. It kind of like reminds you what you're fighting for, like in so many JRPG boss battles, it'll like flash to the various characters that you've met along the way, and so here it's kind of musically creating that image. So I thought it's a really cool piano track. I haven't listened to the whole album yet, but like I'm looking at the track list and I really want to give it all a listen. I'm a real sucker for To Far Away Times, so I want to hear that version too.
Yeah, for me, this is another one of my, and perhaps my main JRPG gap. I've never played Chrono Trigger, and I'm still waiting for them to just do a port to modern systems so I can give it a go. It won't work on my janky PC. So I had to go back and listen to some, like, see the original Boss's theme and some of the other ones. And yeah, this is it's a real shock what they've managed to do with what I understand is the major boss theme. Scary and intimidating, and how they've successfully transformed that into this piano soundscape is so impressive, and to have really made it so that, I mean, I listened to the arrangement first, and I would not have guessed that this was this was the origin of where it comes from, but now, listening to it in isolation, it's a fantastic and complicated piece that I'd be happy to listen to on its own without any other formal knowledge of the original source. And I can see where Matt's coming from, and that perhaps it might be even more impressive than the thing that I listened to second.
I did want to comment too about how it's an unorthodox pick, and that's true. But believe me, I started when I was like, I'm going to do this album, so of course I'm going to start with Corridors of Time and some other ones, and I did listen through those. But this one surprised me the most, which is why I wanted to bring it on here. The part of the problem with like arranging Chrono Trigger, for me anyway, at this point, is we already have the Too Far Away Times album, and I don't know for me if anything's ever going to surpass that. Not that it needs to surpass that, but that I don't know. This is just my excuse to like bring that up and be like, if you haven't listened to that album, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Matt and Paul, have you guys heard that album?
No. Probably. It's not the one with the eggs on the cover, is it?
No, that's Bring It Time.
That's To Far Away Times was what, 6 or 7 years ago? It
was a decade ago. It was 2015. It was celebrating the 20th anniversary of Chrono Trigger.
There you go.
2015 wasn't a decade ago, let me say.
It's 11 years ago. It's a great album. It's Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross music. There are some instrumental tracks. It's the Millennial Fair team. So, the folks who did like the Xenogears Creed album, which I think is one of the best pieces of music ever created. But To Far Away Times, alongside having a ton of other awesome things on it, has vocals from Laura Shigihara on both Quarters of Time and Scala's theme, or Shala's theme, however you pronounce it. And in one of them, she sings in English, and the other one, it's in like a fictional language. And man, those two tracks, alongside the To Far Away Times, the title track at the end, which, who is that? Is it Sarah Elaine? Who is that sings that last track?
I don't remember.
It's a different vocalist. There's like 3 different vocalists on the album. Dude, that album is so good. It came out of nowhere and was just like one of the best things ever made.
Yeah.
Oh, please give me the link to that. Like after the show, I'd love to listen to that or find it.
Yeah, sure.
But yes, that was from 2015. So we are not talking about that extensively today, but I still encourage anyone to listen to it. It's just such an experience. What we are going to talk about next today is maybe my second favorite game of the year, Blueprints. So,
second favorite. Come on.
I mean, Clair Obscur came out this year.
I know. It's hard competition.
I mean, it's one of those things where like the genres are so different. I don't know if I really need to rank them. Like I would put them at the top, pair it at the top because they're very different games. But yeah. Anyway, we are going to listen to The Baron of Mount Holly from Blueprints, and this whole soundtrack is by Trig and Gusset. Okay, so that was the Baron of Mount Holly, and I got to tell you guys, like, I almost went way more off the rails on this one than I expected to, because I was going through the album. The soundtrack is 32 songs, and I was trying to figure out like what's the perfect song to like really introduce people to like some of the common themes or musical feelings of this game. And then I looked on YouTube and found that someone uploaded an 82 track version of the soundtrack, because there's a lot of other music that's not on the album that's like in the game files, like alternate versions of songs, but also just full other songs that aren't on the soundtrack. I'm like, oh, well, that explains why I'm thinking of things that I couldn't find on the soundtrack. It's because they're not on there. And I decided not to go through that like 6 hours of music and pick something weird that I'd have to like extract from a YouTube video for all of you. But don't think I didn't think about it. And I will be listening to it later. However, that aside, I put that aside and went back to the original. And yeah, so that's how I landed on this one. And like I said before, like if there were two games for me that stood out and defined 2025 in games, it was Blueprints and Clair Obscur. And if there were three, then Hello Kitty Island Adventure would also be on that list.
That game is legitimately good.
It's shockingly good, right?
Yeah.
But Blueprints occupied like most of my thoughts. Like, I'm not even kidding when I say awake and asleep. Like some nights I had trouble sleeping because we were like trying to figure out something in the game until we went to bed. And of course, then I'm working through it as I'm sleeping. And sometimes that worked out, and sometimes it just meant I didn't sleep very well that night. But for like weeks, like that game was my life.
Do you remember like when you were a kid having that experience with like Mist and Riven, where you couldn't figure it out, and then you'd be laying in bed and you'd be like, oh wait, I bet that would work, and you try it the next day?
No, because my brother and I tried playing both of those games when we were younger, and we're just like, we're dumb and we don't get it. And we didn't make it that far. It wasn't until I met Hillary and she was like, well, you're going to play these games. So now I have played through the first three Mist games. And yeah, I can see that happening for sure. If I didn't have her as like a, hey, well, maybe do this for this puzzle, maybe that would have happened.
Yeah,
but
I just want to say, like, I haven't finished Blueprints, but some of the experiences that I've had with it, especially that wake and sleep feeling, is something I haven't really felt since I played Mist when I was like 12. So it's just kind of like, what a great feeling to have that again. Right? Even though the context is a little different than a game like Mist, it's still puzzle solving. It's
such intense puzzle solving, and like it's so great that like and a new, someone who's this is his first game to give us that experience is just amazing. And then pulling back to the music here, like I didn't know Trig and Gusset, like I'd never heard of them, although I've listened to all of their albums now, because like this is just the kind of sound that they do for their music in general.
I love that it's two guys, but their names are neither Trig nor Gusset.
I don't know. Maybe I should have looked this up. Like, I don't know what the process was, how exactly they got involved in this sound, but like, what a masterful choice. Like, I can't imagine any other kind of sound accompanying this journey. And this song, like I said, I picked this one because this one I think incorporates a lot of things that work and make this soundtrack what it is, like the slow, methodical tones. This one has like some of the more uplifting and peaceful vibes. Like there's not any like major tension in the game, but some of the tracks are a little more ominous, and this one kind of leans more towards the happy resolution, or maybe not happy, maybe more satisfaction. It plays, I believe, at a semi-conclusion, maybe something that people might think is the end of the game. It's a good moment of like, hey, I achieved this, I achieved my goal, or at least what I've now learned is one of my goals. So it really does have this sense of accomplishment and like, oh, I did it. So I have a lot of positive memory associated with this one. So I know some of you have played this game. What do you guys think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I was encouraged to go into this through yourself and Hilary, Mike, and a lot of other people on the site. But I'm quite early on, like Pat, into this, probably more early, to be honest. But I love this, the soundtrack and as you said, the peaceful tones of it. And particularly this song, which I believe, as you said, comes later on, so I've not encountered it so far, has that slow, somberly cheerful kind of feel to it, and all of that instrumentation. And the first place it took me to, interestingly, and I've got a little journey as we were talking here, was the feeling, and it might be because of the blue aspect, kind of linking me to that whole David Lynch feel. But as it was going along, I was thinking, this is quite Angelo Badalamenti. It's a little bit Twin Peaksy. And then I'm looking at the credits on this track, and I can see that one of the instruments used is the Rhodes piano. And just a quick little bit of research, and Badalamenti used a Fender Rhodes piano on the Twin Peaks soundtrack as well. Okay. So it's really evoking out, and I think the game, although it obviously not as sinister in places as Twin Peaks can be, but the game itself has that kind of disconnected, otherworldly feel to it. Although you're in reality, but it's a reality askew. So there's thematic links there, and that's really, I think, brought to the fore with this kind of musical connection that I felt quite strongly. And I think this is a fantastic track to bring, because there's a lot of good tracks that I've heard so far, but this really does seem to encompass the mood of the whole piece. Yeah,
Rhodes electric piano is pretty central to the trig and gusset sound, right. And especially in Blueprints. And yeah, the Twin Peaks connection is real for sure. The other big instrument, and I think I talked about this in my OST review, is the bass clarinet. The bass clarinet is a star sound. I think it is, when we think about, lower range instruments that can carry a melody for a piece, we typically think of cello, and cello's awesome, right? Cello's great. But to see the part where I would expect a cello essentially replaced with a bass clarinet time after time on this OST was just such a powerful experience for me. And it was just so warm. I think, my favorite track on this album is probably the Black Bridge music. I can't remember the full title, something Black Bridge.
Under the Black Bridge, I think. Yeah,
probably. I think that's right. But after that, it's probably Baron and Mount Holly, which is, again, Black Bridge is a little more dark or morose, and then Mount Holly is more bright and contented. And I think between the Fender Rhodes and the bass clarinet, if you know how to wield those instruments well, which is no small feat, you can make something really special. And I think having sort of an existing or established artist that was kind of just doing their own independent music, and then, come do the music for my game, however that arrangement went down. What a great choice. Just a fantastic choice.
Yeah, that's astounding. Really good points about the bass clarinet too.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the star of the show, and I think as amazing as the Clair Obscur soundtrack is, this might be my favorite. Blueprints might be my favorite soundtrack to listen to from 2025. I just love the ambient vibes of it, and I read it as a little more like bittersweet or even sinister or ominous in places, and it's so hard to describe the emotion that it elicits in me. My favorite track is Westwardly Winds, but
that's a great track.
Yeah, this track is like the track that Mike picked here is it is like very bittersweet and reflective, and for me it's like it feels like the sunrise kind of thing, right? It's like, okay, one mystery is over, we got to where we wanted to be, but like the path that we took to get there uncovered so much pain and like more mystery, you know what I mean? If you pay attention to the story and the clippings, so I just love that. It feels like Simon, the character, like growing up in a way. I don't know, it's a coming of age kind of track, but I wanted to talk about like, this might be my favorite sound direction this year. You know what I mean? Like the way that the music is used in the game, it would just like gave me goosebumps and made my hair stand on end like every time. Like the game is so quiet and somber, and every time that you come across like a like mind-bending puzzle or solution or something, you go like, even before you might know it's there, those synth chords come in, and then it's like at that time I'm like hyper alert. I'm like, okay, there's something here that is like very, very important. I could be staring at it and I have no idea, so I'm like writing on a piece of paper like everything I see. And then like when you uncover enough, then the bass clarinet kicks in, and I just thought like it was such powerful, sparse sound design that like it made me like sit up every time that I heard the music come in. So I really, really loved Blueprints for that.
Yeah, if I can just say real quick, this is, you know, I hate to be a broken record, but what you just described is exactly what I love about the music for Myst and Riven. Those scores by Robin Miller, they're extremely ambient. They're very reserved and pulled back, so that when a melody does come in, you know, whether it's woodwind or they do a lot of like pitch percussion, marimba and that kind of thing, something comes in, the way they did sound design, it's like, oh, I'm somewhere special. Something is happening here. I better pay attention. This ain't nothing. This music is happening for a reason. It's a cue. And I feel like there have been very few games between the Myst series and Blueprints that have done this as well as that. And so even though it's, again, in many ways it's a very different experience, there's something about this that, you know, that saying where they say like history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it rhymes. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like in my sort of like personal gaming history, the rhyme for me is the Myst series and then Blueprints, and there's really not much in between that really hits it. I mean, closest might be like the Zero Escape games, but those are different to me. I mean, they're puzzle solving, but that's a different vibe.
Yeah.
I got some of this. You guys talked recently on a podcast about it, but The Witness kind of gave me a very similar feeling of like, I feel like an idiot. I'm such a fool. And then like suddenly there's a flash of brilliance and like, I'm a genius. Like that feeling is same as like Obra Dinn. Like it's so rewarding. I truly think that like first person puzzlers have become my favorite genre in the last like 5 years, I think.
These are all really good points that Pat's mentioned in Myst and Riven. Yeah, it's that general feeling which is creating. And what you're saying, Matt, about, you know, perhaps this is your favorite in terms of its cohesiveness. I think that really is a key thing. This is so although there is variation of the tracks, it's so thematically appropriate all the way through. It's not the sort of soundtrack that's going to get it a nomination for something like the Game Awards or something like that. It doesn't have that bombastic quality that grabs people's attention in that way. But for the purpose, you know, for the goal, it's absolutely perfect. It's for what it needs to do, and that maybe in ways is maybe even more laudable than some of the other things that have had more attention in the year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this track, like the Baron of Mount Holly, if I'm not mistaken, it's played once in the game, and I can remember exactly what happens when it's played. You know, like it's so tied to those moments, that like those realizations, those uncoverings. I had a similar feeling, like just while we're comparing like Clair Obscur and this one, like the sound design in Clair Obscur I think was fantastic too, for different reasons that the soundtrack can't convey either, like the official soundtrack, because you have all the battle sounds, the characters, dialogue like overlapping, like you know, when I hear like Un Via Tem, it's like, it's great to hear it on a playlist, but like it's lacking like the desperation of like Verso being like let's carve a path, and then like the you know, the gradient attacks and like the amazing sound effects too, right? Like it's so inseparable for me. So I, you know, being on the show, like I'm always the contrast between like, have I played this game yet, or did I listen to the music first? You know, like that has such an effect on how I re-listen to the music.
Absolutely.
Blueprints is like solidified as like I think of the game and I always will, you know.
It is definitely one of those things where the context is pretty important. Sometimes I try to not bring a lot of stuff like that on the show. Like me, I always want the context when I can help it. Although obviously I don't have the context for a lot of the stuff you guys picked today, and I still enjoyed them. But especially for something so atmospheric like this, I think it helps. I think this is one of the tracks that you can appreciate whether you've gotten to that point or not, which is good. But that's one of the reasons I want to dig into those like alternate versions and the other stuff I found on YouTube, because you know, some of that isn't on the official soundtrack. Some of those shifts and stuff are so effective. Like certain puzzles, like with the boiler room, and like when you do this thing that have been like trying to do, like get the right layout you want and connect rooms in a certain way to do stuff that I'm not going to get into. That's when some of those alternate or specific songs kick in. And like, I think, you know, Pat, your comparison to Mist and Riven is perfect, but like in this case, like so much of this game is there's no music. Like so when any music comes in at all, like anything of substance, it's usually because you did something. You got to a certain room, or you connected certain things, or solved a certain puzzle, or are working on a puzzle. And it's I love that. I love the way just music is used in the game for that reason. My favorite track actually this is not my favorite one. My favorite one I'm not going to mention because it's used for the actual very, very last thing you do in the game. So I won't explain what that is. But one, it's way too long, so I didn't want to bring it on here. And two, one of the reasons I like it so much is because it comes at the end after everything else. So I don't know how much people would like it or get it if you just listen to just that on its own. I think it works because you have the context and know the other motifs and things like that. I think that's why it hit me and stuck with me so much. Again, that song also I would hear in my sleep for a while there. So yeah, I mean, just what an experience this game is.
Yeah, fantastic game.
So when you guys get further or at least decide, I don't know if I can do any more of this at some point, just because I like sharing it, I will share a screenshot of my very detailed whiteboard system of notes that I came up with, because I had a lot of fun with that.
Right. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the meme of the cork board.
The conspiracy board, yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
Hillary
and I joke and call it my like conspiracy board for the game, just because I like put notes here and drew little lines connecting, and then this is connected to this, and then oh wow, that's connected to that. Obviously, you know, people can take notes however they want. If you want to do paper notes, write things down, that's fine. But I'm just such a visual person, and I was like, nothing here is going to be linear enough that I will want to use paper. I will need to be able to move things around and connect them. And since I don't actually want to go out and buy a bulletin board and a bunch of push pins and a bunch of string, I'll find a digital way to do it. Although that would be fun.
Mine's just barely legible writing on a pad, which is probably why I'm not getting that far.
Yeah, scribbles. The debriefing of this game, like I would go to bother my wife and be like, honey, there's something with the paintings. I can't quite figure it out, but like, there's something there. Like I'm so close, I can feel it. You know, like I loved that aspect of it.
The paintings or the drawings?
I don't want to say an actual clue, but the drawings. Yeah, okay. The drawings.
You need to go and tell her about it immediately after this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have one track left. We've arrived.
We did it.
Yeah. Almost. We've almost done it. So if we're all ready, my final track for today is, you'll never believe this, but I pulled something from Final Fantasy XIV. So Dawn Trail came out last year. However, well, let me redo that. Dawn Trail came out in 2024, but because it's still the current expansion, there was a few music drops in 2025. One of them is one of my favorite things they've done with the game yet. And this is an arrangement of Roses of May from Final Fantasy IX. So that is, of course, composed by Nobuo Uematsu and arranged by Masayoshi Soken. So let's go listen to Dawn Trail's Roses of May. All right, that was Roses of May. This song does exactly one of my favorite things that I love in 14, because 14 has so much original music, of course, but every once in a while they'll do something in the story or in the game where they pull in other stuff. After Endwalker, there was a lot of Final Fantasy IV content, which is very near and dear to my heart. But I love what Soken and his team can do when they take these classic beloved songs and just do something new and exciting with it while still honoring the original composition. Even for a scrub like me that's only played Final Fantasy IX one time, and I think I'm going to get back into it soon, because all through 2025, people's like memes about Silksong and the clown nose and all that. Like, that was me with the Final Fantasy IX remake. Every time there's a game showcase, I'm like, no, there's too much evidence. They're releasing new merch like every week, and like, this is going to happen this year, and then it didn't. So I was holding off a little bit of getting back into 9 because of that, but now I'm just going to do it. But anyway, yeah, so I've only played it once. I only played it on the original PS1 and never again. But even then, I know, Roses of May is one of the most memorable and like instantly recognizable songs, even for me. But hearing it here in this like bold new way, like you're fighting someone who really fits the theme. I mean, it's not really a spoiler. Like, Dawn Trail isn't retelling the story of 9. It's using characters. So it's a character reminiscent of Beatrix. I'll say that. And even though I've been lax at playing the game recently, I was playing a lot when this came out last year. And so I did this fight a whole bunch of times, and it's just such a blast. I love that in the game, and we're talking context again, her attacks and the arena is so thoughtfully designed. Like, there's roses and rose petals and like thorny vines on some of her attacks. So I love that, like, as you're playing, like, the visuals and of course the voice clips and all that, like, everything like is so cohesive with the song. So like that it all carries through from the song name to the visuals and the mechanics of the fight is so great. Like, it's one of those things that they do so well, is like really making this, I know I'm going to say cohesive again, things in the game, but it's one of the best things they've done in Dawn Trail so far. So unless I learn that there's an arrangement of Not Alone coming in 7.5, this might be hard to top. Really, really fun. I loved it.
So I read I read today, actually, just by chance, that Uematsu, in an interview with Famitsu, he said that Roses of May was his favorite track from Final Fantasy IX. Yeah, and I've always loved Uematsu for his like melodic ear. Like, he can really compose the hell out of a melody. And I'm not gonna say I've talked down on Soken, but like I appreciate Soken's like grandiose production and like orchestration, but like he doesn't really make that many themes that stick in my mind. So I love when he's like adapting other people's melodies. Like, I think that's like a match made in heaven. This one is like so swashbuckling and fun. Like, maybe I'm not the only one that got kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean vibes from.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, like, this is like such a perfect match between like two of the best Final Fantasy composers. Not the best, but two of the best.
Yeah, I think, what you said, swashbuckling. It's a good word. I mean, if you just sort of think about the sword play that Beatrix is known to be good at, and then you take that sort of like, themes like roses and flowers and, just sort of technical, work with a sword. And then you consider that this piece is a sort of mid to fast tempo 6/8 waltz kind of vibe, right? It's like a dance. In the original form, it's a good bit slower. This new version, obviously being for a battle, a boss battle, is sped up a bit. But just sort of melodically, the way this piece is built, I think it really lends itself to a bit of a high seas adventure vibe, even though it's not about high seas per se, but it is about the sort of swashbuckling, rapier / EP like kind of sword fighting experience.
Well, in the opening scene of Final Fantasy IX, you have that like theatrical sword fight, right? And that comes up near the end too.
That intro sort of mini game.
You're impressing the audience.
Yes. Yeah, that's actually, it's funny to me to think, what would it be like if you put like Beatrix and Steiner there to do that in place of Zidane? That's kind of how I feel about this arrangement. That's the music you'd have then. It'd be a little more intense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm in a weird position here again. I think I might have mentioned before, but being a kind of UK-based gamer and fan of JRPGs, my first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy 7, and then I played 8, and then I bought 9, and I thought, what is this? Because for me, Final Fantasy was like serious kind of, science fiction-y fantasy stuff, not whatever this super deformed thing was. So I dropped off it really quick, which was one of my big regrets. I will get back to it at some point. I never have. So again, as per the earlier arrangement, when I went back to the original track, and again, Mike, you've picked such a really great version of something else where the interpretation is just it's so recognizable but so wildly different, and I was absolutely getting what Matt said there with the kind of that kind of piratical nature. I don't know if that doesn't seem to it doesn't feel like it feels like it shouldn't fit, but it does. And it's just giving me this whole vibe of the giant boss battle vibe, but the kind of one that is more positive with the epic choir coming in, the one that's meant to empower you, which this song does. And it always made me think back to something like the bit where they walk over the mountain in Fellowship of the Rings, that kind of sound that kind of supposed to lift you up into the air. And I can't really say more than I just am so impressed by how they've transformed the feel of the song to fit this entirely different scenario.
That's so interesting to me that was your take on 9, but I mean it makes total sense. Like, so many people did start at 7 or 10 or one of the other major points. And
we didn't have 1 to 6.
Well, that too. But if you start with 7 and 8, like, you're not going to have the nostalgia for the older games that they were going for with 9. So I can totally see how that could have been your approach.
Yeah.
I think in retrospect, though, 9, the graphics hold up so much better than 7 and 8.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar case to Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, where a lot of people looked down on it for being kiddie. And then time has proven that this holds up so much better than its contemporaries, I think. But 9 is, recently a lot of people say 9 is the best Final Fantasy, and it's so charming. I will say it's hard to deny the charm of the characters.
Yeah,
yes, I was very silly indeed. But although I will not, I think you kind of had to be there, but I will not understate the impact of Final Fantasy VIII and the giant leap in the graphics.
Oh yeah,
at that point,
sure.
It was quite stunning going from 7 to 8 and having no other context than being a contemporary person. This is just my little soapbox moment. That was quite a big deal. So I don't want to underplay Final Fantasy VIII.
If you're being a cheerleader for 8, I'm right there with you. It's definitely a top 3 in terms of games in the series, and I am pretty strong about this. 8 is my favorite Final Fantasy soundtrack, but 9's close, and like you were saying, Matt, I have held since maybe 2005, 2006. I'd kind of locked in that 9 was my favorite Final Fantasy, and nothing's unseated it. So
I need to play it.
This is not the point of this, our music podcast, but I will say that I wish so much that for 7, 8, and 9, because of their pre-rendered backgrounds, I understand, the problem with game development now is they don't, so many people didn't keep original assets, and maybe they don't have the original, because obviously those pre-rendered backgrounds were rendered at a much higher resolution than the PS1. But man, they just don't, you know, scaling them up and making them blurry on like the current versions of those games is a real shame. Like, if they can't bring the originals, I do wish they would just do some kind of upscaling. Like, image upscaling is one of the only things that I'm like, I don't mind if they're going to use some like AI tools, because it's not, I don't want them to use like Gen AI, but like, you know, look at the mods for the fan mods for Final Fantasy 9, like those backgrounds, like
really stunning.
All those people had to work with was what's in the game, and they scaled them up and cleaned them up. Obviously, they don't just like run it through a filter and call it done, which is, I think, what happened with Chrono Cross. But like they did it for Chrono Cross. If they just made those backgrounds a little sharper, so the characters didn't look like they're running over this like blurry background, like I would love that. Like, they don't need to fully remake them. Just do that. Make those backgrounds nicer, and those would be great versions.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you all. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed everyone's picks today. Like, what a great year for music. You know, like you said at the very top of the show, Pat, like, you know, we had these major releases, and surprising new releases that like we didn't even know we were getting in 2025 when Hades 2 got a release date, and not that we cover it, but Silk Song, like so many great things came out that year. But the arrangement scene, like going through for this and our written feature for the site, I was like, there is so much, like so many cool things came out in 2025 arrangement wise. So I'm glad we could feature some of those here today too. So on this episode, we did still have a few games that made their debut. This was our first time having music from Atelier Yumia, Lies of P, the original or DLC, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I was looking at our spreadsheet for this, and we keep having like Monster Hunter appear one time. Like, I think we have four or five different Monster Hunter games that have been on the show, but each one's only been on once. So we keep doing one track. So maybe we need to bring more Monster Hunter on in the future. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, we are doing an episode that's all about overclocked remixes. I actually just learned this last night that Overclocked Remix, just on New Year's Eve, posted their 5,000th remix.
Wow!
What a milestone for that site.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I'm not going to say what it is, but I liked it so much that it might be one of my picks for that episode. So look forward to that. So if you have thoughts on future topics, or you want to share some of your personal picks of 2025, you can reach the show and me at music@rpgfan.com. How can people reach you, Matt?
You could read my personal fiction writing at mattwardellwrites.wordpress.com, or check out all the music reviews we have up on the site at RPG Fan.
Nice. And Pat?
You can always hit me up on Blue Sky or Twitter. My handle is Gameadactyl. That's the word game, the letter O, and dactyl. Good luck with that.
And how about you, Paul?
Yeah, you can get me on Blue Sky. As Matt said, read my contributions on the site sometimes. And I do sometimes hang out in the Discord as well as Lord Spiral.
Nice. All right. If you enjoyed this show, of course, Rhythm Encounter is not the only show on the RPG Fan Podcast Network. We also have Random Encounter that posts every other week opposite of us on Mondays, and Retro Encounter that posts every other Thursday. Over on Random Encounter, they just finished doing their year in review episode. I think I know what's coming up next, but I don't want to give the wrong information, but it might be on a certain narrative game. Might be one of the topics for next week. So just check that out next Monday. Over on Retro Encounter, they are doing a 2-part game journal on 13 Sentinels, which I know is something everyone on that show is very excited to get into. Some people for the first time. So look forward to that one. You can find RPG Fan on most social media, either RPG Fan or RPG Fan.com. You'll find links to those in our show notes. We're also on Twitch, YouTube. We have a Discord. Our website is rpgfan.com. And on the website, along with news and reviews and podcasts and music reviews and lots of great features, we also have a shop. So if you want to buy some RPG Fan merch, you can find that at rpgfan.com/shop. And lastly, if you enjoy listening to this and want to support us, if you want to leave us a review or a like or a comment on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever it is you get your podcasts, we would appreciate that, because all that does is help the algorithm and help more people find the show, listen to the show, because we love sharing music and talking about music. And thank you for listening. Even though this has turned out to be an extra long episode, as we expected with Music of the Year, we decided we're still going to do our typical bonus track. We all talked about it a little bit, but Matt, since you ultimately shared the link for one, I'll let you introduce it. So what is our bonus track for this extra-sized episode of Rhythm Encounter?
Yeehaw! Well, it's a soundtrack that we've all talked about enjoying from a game that none of us have played, but from the game Battlesuit Aces. This is the title track, Battlesuit Aces. This is composed by Carlos Ein, who many listeners may know as Insane in the Rain Music, for his like a decade plus of saxophone covers of game music all over the internet. So this is one of his largest original composed soundtracks, and it's fantastic if you like Super Mario Galaxy mixed with Paradise Killer. So this is one more time, Battlesuit Aces.
What a great pick. I'm so glad we did get to feature that on here. I actually I was lucky enough to see him perform at PAX last year, and it was so
really
fun.
No
yeah. So good thing to end on. Thank you again, everyone, for staying up way too late in some of your cases, recording this episode, sharing your thoughts, bringing on such wonderful music. It was a great year for music, and I'm looking forward to seeing what 2026 brings as well. But until then, thank you all for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we leave you with the Battlesuit Aces main theme. We made it to 17 minutes before there was a Kevin Costner joke. I think that's a new record.
Is that a regular occurrence?
Yeah, don't you know that, Matt?
Of course.
He comes up all the time on this show.
Waterworld and that cowboy movie. Oh, yeah.
Do you guys know the Simpsons had this one episode about the Waterworld arcade game where Milhouse spends like $10 to play it and it's an instant game over. And then somebody made like a Flash game entirely based on this arcade game where you just get one screen of it, and you from that screen they were just like, oh, we're going to build a whole game. And it's bad. It's like NES Dragon Lair style, where it's just like every time you take a step there's like a trap waiting for you.
Oh my God.
Watching speedruns of the fake Simpsons Waterworld arcade game is a lot of fun.